Hello Scott, Martin here. Just taking a look at your golf swings. I pulled them off of YouTube and put them in my analysis software. And you got a lot of good stuff going on. Obviously you're in great shape, and your moves are very functional, but we're missing a lot of speed components. Even though you look like you can tear phone books in half for a living, I think we're still lacking a little bit of actual speed in the swing, and I'll talk to you about that in a sec. So when I look at a guy over a golf ball, I want to see kind of what's happening with your body moves, and your hands are kind of pressed forward. Your eyes see your hands well left of where the golf ball is. I mean, that's a bit on the excessive side right there. I'd like to see your hands just a fraction more mid-body than this. I'll explain why to you in a second. And as I work your swing back into the backswing, if you look at that tree in the background, well, I'll just anchor your head with something. There's a lot of movement to the right with your head and up. I shouldn't say a lot. There's more than I'd care for, but the up motion is not one I'm a fan of, and I'll touch on this in a sec. So even as strong as you are right now, you're not carrying much lag angle, and it's not something that I want you to hold, but it is something that I want to be available to you so that your body can use and recruit to hit good shots. I mean, this was a subtle mishit, and your attack angle and golf ball are kind of one and the same. In other words, you're hitting these very, very shallow, not much of a divot, and I'll show you why here in the secondary video. So when I watch your backswing right here, I call this, I joke a little bit, and I call this the Statue of Liberty pose, because there's really no freedom of motion and mobility in the wrists. I'll let that mass on the end of that stick, i.e. the club head, set your hands. So again, even as strong as you are here, you got to recruit your strong core to move the club fast, and unfortunately it's not the most effective way of doing it. Let's take a look at the driver swing here and make this a little bit larger. Okay, and put you in frame. There we go. And then the down the line guy here, right there. Make it a little bit bigger. So let's look at the basic stuff here. So setup position looks pretty nice. Camera angle is decent. The driver is a club that I like played very much underneath the left shoulder joint, so you're looking good there. Because we want to hit that at the bottom of the circle, or even fractionally on the uptick. Whereas an iron, I like to have it played a little bit behind the bottom of the circle, so we catch it before we catch the stuff the ball's sitting on. And your dress looks pretty nice. Your face on, I really don't have much to comment on. Looks good. So as we walk this into a backswing, we'll take a look at what's happening with this head here. So there's a little bit of upward motion I'll talk to you about. And so when I see that, I'm looking at what this left shoulder does here. So there's the joint of the left shoulder, and I'm going to make a box to the bottom button on your placard of your shirt there. And I want to see a left shoulder work from the top of that box to the bottom corner of that box. And I know the camera's moving along here, but there's a little down move which I like, and then a very lateral move. So your left shoulder works more parallel to the ground, which kind of makes your head raise up in your backswing a little. And then you've got to kind of work downward to get to the golf ball. In this case, you're kind of hanging back at it. But this impact alignment looks really, really nice. And I'm sure you hit a very lovely drive. You can kind of see you're a little bit sitting back on your right foot. And let's watch this one. You look like you're hanging back and your heel's a tick there. I'd say your center of mass is about here, and I'd love to see it a bit more forward to where you're a bit more in the midfoot. Get that keister of yours pushed a bit forward, and your chest would be, well, if you get your center of balance in your chest a little bit more forward, you'll be a little less in your heels, so a teeny bit more midfoot there. And let's watch this backswing. So these hands really go out. The concentric path of your hands, club's kind of, it's a little bit more out than I like. So where your left shoulder is here, I like to see these hands a little bit more in. I'll show you here when I make your video in a second. And again, there's very little there's zero hinge of that left wrist right there. So you've even as strong as you are, like I've said before, there's the wrist conditions really are responsible for the unconscious speed of a golf swing. And right now you've got those suckers held tight, and I'm sure you can get to where you can drive this thing pretty good. But for your size, I bet you could hit it way farther. So let me do your video.